Today I'm at the Waldorf Astoria on the Palm Jumeirah in Dubai, trying to make the most of quite a short stopover that I've got here. Landed in late last night, I've got another flight later tonight, so in this short period that I'm here, I want to make the most of everything. The best that the hotel's got to offer, from the pool, the beach, the food, the gym, maybe even the spa, we'll see this time. And hopefully I'll feel a bit rejuvenated before this flight later on. I said it was quite late when I got here last night, so didn't really do much. I just had a bit of a tour around the room, had a shower and then went to bed. And so let me quickly take you on that room tour right now. I do keep in mind, if you take a look around, that this is only the entry-level room here at the Waldorf Astoria. And I think you'll be shocked when we come into pricing later just how cheap I managed to get this. Heading into the bathroom, we have the robes on the right, and then through here we have the toilet and the bidet. There's a large rainfall shower with a separate nozzle and a bench to sit down on. And then over to the side of this, we also have a large bath. Then of course the large double sink, and plenty of nice amenities provided. Near the entrance to the room there's a large walk-in wardrobe or closet for my American friends. Plenty of hanging space in here, plus some drawers, shelves, and of course the safe. There's also an iron and an ironing board if your clothes have got a bit crumpled in your case. Coming into the bedroom, we have this large cabinet with the TV. There's also a coffee machine, some provided bottles of water, and the bedroom itself is a really large open space. There's a table at each side of the bed. The one nearest to the door has this wireless charger, which also doubles as an alarm clock, and there's a UK style plug. And then over on the other side, a fairly similar setup, but this side also has the phone. Further around in the rest of the room, we have a sofa, a desk to do some work at, and then leading outside we also have the balcony. This has a sofa, 2 chairs and a table, and views over towards the pool, the beach, and the views of some of the other hotels around the Palm. There wasn't too much to see at this time of night, but thankfully the views in the morning were much nicer, and we'll definitely be checking out the pool and the beach pretty soon. And thankfully after that room tour, when I did just go to bed, it was a really comfy night's sleep. A nice soft mattress, good pillows, bedding's really nice too. So even though I didn't get a huge number of hours sleep, it's really good quality, so I'm feeling energised to go do stuff today, see the hotel. And at the end of the day, I'll let you know whether or not I think it's worth staying here. So when I first got up that morning, I didn't want to go straight to the breakfast. I wanted to get a bit of exercise in first. So I just had a protein bar that I brought with me to just keep myself going for a bit, and then got myself double espresso from this machine. And I was hoping that would give me enough energy to just have a pretty good workout before I went over for the buffet breakfast. Coffee cups and pods were found in the drawers in that cabinet near the TV, and with that it was time to go find the gym. The walk over to the gym takes me through the quite grand reception area. They also have things going on like indoor palm trees and lots of art around as well. I only need to go down 1 floor, but I never did quite find the stairs, if they even existed. So the glass lift down to the reception, and then a short walk from there over towards the gym. And I've got to say I was really impressed with the gym. After a long travel day where I've not been particularly active, I just wanted to have a really good workout, and this place was definitely set up well for it. Definitely amongst the better hotel gyms I've had. I should say though, as with most hotel gyms, as soon as there's a few people in there, it can be quite difficult to get the equipment that you want, and they tend to just have one of each thing rather than multiple. Plenty of water and towels were around, and the whole place was kept nice and clean. And after a great 1-hour workout, I made my way back over towards the room. Grabbed a quick shower, and I've got to say the shower was really fantastic. Really good rainfall shower, great pressure and temperature, nice and spacious, and really nice amenities. And it's finally time to head over for the breakfast buffet. Breakfast is open from 6:30 to 10:30am, and I was going to be arriving just after 10am, so towards the end of the service. But before we get to that, now if you also want to stay here in the Waldorf Astoria in Dubai on the Palm, then you can book your stay through today's video sponsor, Planning. Planning is a really unique global travel booking platform, allowing you to book hotels, experiences, tours, and even cruises. But instead of just showing anonymous reviews and ratings, planning shows you recommendations from travel content creators and experts that you trust. I've been building out my profile to add recommendations for my favourite hotel stays and cruises from the last few years, so you can see where I recommend and why. Planning has partnered with big names like Booking.com, Agoda and Get Your Guides to ensure that you're getting the best availability and pricing from across those platforms, plus exclusive discounts for Planning members. So sign up for completely free using the link in the description or the QR code on screen. You'll be able to see my recommendations, get yourself up to 40% off hotel stays, and it'll be massively supporting my channel in the process. Arriving over at the breakfast restaurant, I was given a warm greeting and shown over to my table. They took my coffee order and I thought it was quite nice they asked if I wanted an extra shot of espresso in there. I was clearly looking tired and I gladly accepted that. I thought the selection of food on offer was really good, a nice variety of options, and worth noting as well that even though we are in Dubai, there was a section that was serving pork, so it had pork sausages and bacon. I started things off with a bit of a full English. The sausage, bacon and eggs were all decent, but I've got to say the hash browns were definitely the highlight. Accompanied of course with that cappuccino with the extra espresso. I then finished things off with pineapple, a pan au chocolat and a donut, all of which were really nice quality. I would have happily gone and got a bit more, but I was trying not to overdo it today. I'd eaten quite a lot and had quite a bit to drink on the journey over here, so that breakfast was more than enough for now. And after getting back up to the room, I quickly got changed, got some suntan lotion on and made my way over towards the pool. Outside there's a main pool, an adults only pool and of course the beach. I will show you them all, but I decided to start over at the adult pool as the main one was looking quite busy with families. And I've got to say it was absolutely boiling out there. It was over 40 degrees Celsius, so although I typically would have been just sat out in the sun trying to get a bit of a tan, I was quite happy to just sit under an umbrella in the shade for a while. As soon as I'd got over to the adult pool, the friendly attendant had set up the lounger, and then he returned shortly after with a bucket of ice full with bottles of water, which I thought was really good to provide. But if you don't want to stick with water, there are QR codes by each of the tables. From here you can order food, drinks, including alcoholic ones, and then they'll just bring it out to your table. I'll be ordering some things later, but for now I just stuck with the water. And after relaxing a while and taking the occasional dip in the pool to cool off when it was getting a bit too much, I decided to have a bit of a wander around and see what we've got on offer. There's quite a large stretch of beach available to the hotel. Tons and tons of lounges around with absolutely no one on them. Everyone just seemed to be hanging around the pool. Might be something to do with the temperature. I kept needing to jump in that pool, and I imagined other people were staying around for the same reasons too. The lounges that they've got are really comfortable, really good quality, and you can still order food and drink out to the ones on the beach. But if you don't want your drinks to come to you, you can go to the drinks. The Sunset 55 bar is located right next to the adults pool and just off the beach. It seemed like a really nice space, and they've got a few kind of photo spots set up. Got to make sure there's something for the Instagram. However, this place didn't seem to be open during my stay. Elsewhere outside, I did notice there was actually a tennis court, but I think it'd be way too hot for anyone to be playing during this stay. Probably one just to use in the winter. For reference, I was here in July. There was a Haagen-Dazs ice cream stand that was kind of between the two pools. And then this is what the main pool area is like. As I said before, very busy with families, so I didn't do too much filming around here. Didn't want to be bothering anyone. Water sports activities were available, but of course for an extra charge. I then wandered back over to the adults only pool to go relax again. I noticed on my way in they've got a whole magazine stand which I thought was quite nice. Give people something to read. And if you're struggling to read them, the attendants here are absolutely brilliant. They were actually going around cleaning people's sunglasses, which is a service I've definitely never seen before anywhere else. At this point I was starting to get in the mood for something other than water. I had a quick scan through the food options that were available, which was looking pretty extensive, but for now I just decided to order a drink. I went for a blueberry, strawberry and banana smoothie, and it didn't take too long for that to come out. It actually came out while I was taking a bit of a break in the pool. Like I say, it was over 40 degrees, I think about 42 Celsius, and that pool was ice cold, so it was brilliant. As was the smoothie, incredibly refreshing on a day like that. And I then just spent a good couple of hours just chilling by the pool. I would just stay under the shade, still get absolutely boiling, jump in the pool to cool off, and then go back under the shade again. I started getting a little hungry after a while, so I went back on the QR code and I ordered myself up a plate of sushi and a Coke Zero. Once again, didn't take long at all to come out, and that sushi was absolutely delicious. Although I've got to dock a few points from them for not providing any chopsticks, I ended up just eating with my fingers. Eventually it was time to get out the heat, and I was also in the mood for a more substantial lunch, and rather than eat outside, I've been hoping to try one of the on-site restaurants. But unfortunately that didn't seem to really be an option. The only place that was actually available for lunch that was open that day was afternoon tea. There was this restaurant called Lao that I thought would be really good to get some nice Asian food, but that was closed. And when I got back up to the room, I just thought, let me have a look at what information they've got about the restaurants on site, what's open, what's available. But one of the restaurants was temporarily closed for the season, annoyingly due to open a few days after I left. And it also confirmed that that Sunset 55 bar was not open yet. And since I didn't fancy afternoon tea, and the only other restaurants that were available were all only open for dinner, like the Italian restaurant, and the restaurant where we'd had the breakfast buffet, I ended up just settling on ordering some room service. Thankfully the room service menu was actually looking really good, and obviously I had plenty of space in the room to get settled and eat it. Loads of different types of options of food available, and all of them seemed relatively reasonably priced for room service in Dubai. So I placed my order, and then whilst waiting for that to arrive, I was able to do a bit of packing, get changed into my gym gear so that I'll be ready to go get a bit more exercise after lunch, and the food then arrived not too long after that. I went for the butter chicken and a starter of chicken satay skewers. Honestly, it all smells amazing, so I'm just going to get stuck in and give it a try. It's okay, I've been spoiled a bit recently. The Waldorf Astoria in Bangkok a few days ago had absolutely incredible satay. This is nowhere near as good. It's very nice, it's very tasty, there's lots of chicken. Nowhere near as good as what they had in Bangkok, which is what I'd expect, but still, they're both Waldorf Astoria. I was expecting a bit more. Let's give this butter chicken a go. I'm just going to get a bit on the spoon, give it a taste. Jeez, that's a bit much. That is really good. Okay, got a good meal here. So yeah, that butter chicken was absolutely delicious. Chicken satay skewers were good as well, and I made sure to finish them off. Once I was done, the trolley was collected from my room, and once the food is settled, I made my way back over to the gym for a quick workout, before showering and finishing off packing. Well, I'm all packed up, and sadly it's now time for me to head over to the airport. It's been a really fun, brief stopover, this one, and I think well worth the money. I paid about £135 for the one night, which, given the level of accommodation, the service I've had, and the relaxing time I've had by the pool, well worth that money to me. I feel so much better going into this next flight now. And it's definitely somewhere I'd recommend for a stay, and somewhere I can see myself coming back to when I've got a bit of a longer stopover, or if I just want to do a long weekend break maybe from the UK. But it is possible to stay in Dubai for quite a bit cheaper than this. And a couple of months ago I came to Dubai and I stayed in the cheapest hotel that I could find. And the quality of that hotel was actually really surprising. So if you want to see what that is like, and see just how cheap you can stay in Dubai for, watch this video next. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.